This video is for my Art 1 class. So we are going to start talking about how to draw. That's one of the biggest goals for taking an art class. Students want to know, how can I draw better? How, if I'm going to create art, that's usually the one thing that students want to be able to get better at, so that when they draw, when they paint, all of the art that they make is something that they're proud of. So one of the goals that I have for you all is to work on your drawing skills. A key to improving your drawing skills and for making art is observation. I'm sure you guys grew up thinking, hey, I was told what a sun looks like, a flower, my name. These are all things that we just kind of train ourselves to recreate. But observing what things look like is key to really seeing something, being able to draw it. And drawing is really just a series of lines and shapes. So this activity is, the biggest goal is just trying to work on your observation skills and seeing that drawing is really, like I said, just lines and shapes. So our activity is about observing the lines, and each of you should be receiving a piece of paper that has a word in cursive. If you're working from home, I'll probably have some different instructions for you to use, since you may not have this piece of paper. But if you're in class, then you should have this piece of paper and a pencil. All right, so take the piece of paper and fold it in half, more like kind of like a hot dog where it's elongated. So fold it in half. And instead of having the word this way, the word creativity, have it upside down. And what this is doing is, normally when you see a word, and I know the cursive, already I'm finding out that students are having difficulties with cursive, so it may be difficult to read, but we think we know what something looks like and we go to recreate it. But drawing it upside down forces you to really study the letters, instead of thinking about, well, I know what a C looks like, or an R, or a Y, but really studying, like I said, what the lines look like and trying to recreate it. Another thing that you're going to have to take into account is proportions, how some of the lines, how they are proportionate to other areas, how they line up. So not only is your pencil going to be a drawing tool, but you're also going to use that to kind of measure a little bit and look at angles to get your proportions accurate to what you see. So we're going to start left to right. If you are left-handed, I think it's okay for you to start right to left. All right, so this isn't meant to be rushed. This is an exercise just to get your brain used to observing what you see, instead of relying on what you think you know about something. So I'm just going to try and recreate what's here, but I'm going to have my eye kind of follow the line and the direction that it's flowing. I'm just going to kind of study that line. I'm going to be really soft with my pencil, because a lot of times when you sketch, you want to start with kind of a soft line and then decide later which lines you're going to keep, because sometimes you're going to erase the lines and shapes that you create. So instead of being committed to that heavy line, start working on just having kind of a softer hand. And like I said, this is about working on our observation skills and seeing by the end if we can get it to as accurate as the drawing as we can. Already I feel like I wish I had started a little further down, so I'm already going to back up. Feeling like it's way too close. Paying attention to, for example, the proportions of this width compared to this width. These are observations that, as you start working on your drawing skills, you're going to pay attention to. Kind of having your eye and your pencil kind of work together. Like I said, studying the angle of the line. loops around. Notice that the space between this and this is not the same as what I'm seeing here. So I'm going to make some changes to that. I feel pretty confident in this loop here. I'm pretty sure it's this. Because if you have one section that's off, it's going to affect the rest of the line that you're trying to follow. So when one thing is off, it just kind of like a domino, it starts affecting the other areas. So still a little bit more. Can bring that out a little bit. And sometimes your mind just really needs a good like 5-10 minutes sometimes of just drawing to really kind of like a warm-up, kind of like stretching before you exercise. Same thing with art. Sometimes you need that time to just kind of get your mind focused a little bit. That a little thicker than it's there. And we're only going to be using probably about 15 to 20 minutes for this exercise. So yes, you get plenty of time to do this. Remember, it's not about rushing it. It's about learning patience and to study what you see. And for some people, that is very, very hard and something that you're going to have to work on to be more successful at drawing. Kind of paying attention to, like I said, the pencil can be used as a ruler as well, just kind of looking at this angle here and then comparing it. This should be angling more this way. Should be down here. So like I said, don't rely on what you think it looks like. Rely on what you see. Another reason we have it upside down. One of the reasons that I gave you all a word already printed out is I have found a lot of students are not learning cursive anymore. And I wanted to make sure your word was in cursive. Notice that. See how close these are. It's probably good about right there. Kind of looking at the angle. Divides up about right here. You can definitely tell this line. Look at the space between this and this. It's completely like almost twice as long. So this probably needs to come up a little higher, which means this is going to need to come up higher. Should have a little dot right there. okay. Just kind of looking at the angle of this point to this point. Little loop here. Studying the, got eraser marks all over the place. Kind of the curve of this. And let's see, kind of looking at the angle of this right here. All right, I guess it is time to see how I did. I think it's pretty good. All right, hopefully you all have some similar results.